Hello, everyone. Welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined by my co-host Joey Mullins. Joey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you?
I'm doing all right. We're going to sit here and we're going to pick this Week 12 college football matchups. But we just kind of we're recording right after our Bengals had a very tough loss, losing Joe Burrow. Uh, didn't have T. Higgins. Didn't play well. Jake Browning was there. Kind of disappointing, but yeah, man, it happens, I guess. Hopefully, Burrow can come back and get this season back on track. They're now 5-5, but yeah, it wasn't the best Thursday night game for us.
No, he's got a tall task on him ahead. So I mean, their schedule's not too bad, but I mean, still, you got to have your star player in the game.
Yeah, definitely got to have Burrow, but that's the NFL. But we're here. We're going to pick our NCAA football picks for the week on the top 25 as we've been picking lately. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump right in, Joey, with this top 25 slate. Looks like a somewhat kind of slow week in it. It's the next to last week of the season. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week and a lot of rivalry games next weekend. But we'll check out the slate here and we'll make our picks.
Sounds good.
The
Let's get into it.
the, the first game is the first 12 o'clock matchup. I guess it's the big noon kickoff this week. Number 3, Michigan travels to Maryland to face the Maryland Terrapins. Michigan's a 19-point favorite. The over-under is 49.5. Michigan is without Jim Harbaugh, who did not die, but he is suspended for the rest of the regular season. If you've seen some pictures around campus up in Ann Arbor, you may think, what happened to Harbaugh? RIP. But no, that's not the case. He's just suspended. Joey, what do you think about this matchup? What do you think about the silliness up there in Ann Arbor?
Well, completely it's completely crazy, but I mean, they beat Penn State 24-15, so come on. I mean, Maryland's terrible. They're terrible in both sports, basketball and football. So, I mean, I don't see Michigan covers everything here. The spread, I mean, everything. I mean, it's Michigan hands down. I mean, they're just a better team, man. They're 10-0. I mean, yeah, the coach. I mean, don't get me wrong. The coach has a lot to do with it, but these players have proved when they went out, they beat Penn State, which was their first. Everybody said it's their first legitimate test. Like, oh my God, they're playing somebody that's actually good, and they handle business. So I don't see them any different here.
Yeah, I'm rolling with you on this one, man. Michigan's a 19-point favorite. Like you said, they're covering that easily. Maryland, they started off the season, I believe, 5-0 and are 1-4 since, and have just been horrible in Big Ten play. I think that the over is probably going to hit, and it's probably going to be more the over for Michigan. It's going to be like I could see them coming out like 45 to 7 or 14. I mean, it's not going to be a whole lot of competition there. Blake Corum, you could probably mark it down. He's scoring a touchdown because that's what he does. All he does is score touchdowns. They Michigan showed last week that they could play any kind of style of ball. Like they play a slow down, slug it out matchup like they did with Penn State and win. I think they'll win and set up a big showdown next Saturday, like we all thought, without
Mm-hmm.
Harbaugh. And we'll see if that
Mm-hmm.
makes any difference or not. But I've got Michigan here covering and hitting the over.
I agree. I just can't wait till our next week pick'ems for this one here.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good one. The next matchup this week coming up, it's going to be a good one right here. This could be the matchup of the week. The Chattanooga, whatever they are, has traveled to Tuscaloosa to face those Alabama Crimson Tide, number 8 in the nation. There is no point spread, No over-under on this one. Tickets are as low as $9 to get into this one. Joey, what do you think about this matchup right here?
Well, I mean, hey, Chad. I mean, look, they got a 1% chance, bro. I mean, hey, it could happen, but I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, Alabama's going to come out. They're gonna come out firing. It's going to be. I mean, it's just going to be a good old fashioned clobber. I mean, if you know, I mean, we're from Kentucky, so if you want to call it just a good old fashioned clobber, that's what it's going to be. I mean, I mean, this game is not even close at all.
Oh man, so there's no point spread. There's no over under to pick here. It's
No,
there's the reason why there's not one. Alabama's probably going to win by 40. They come out last week and they just absolutely beat down my Kentucky Wildcats from start to finish in Kentucky. No different this week. They're going to come down. They're going to beat Chattanooga. Alabama, they're just going to roll out onto the field and just, I mean, they could play their second string and it probably wouldn't even be competitive. Give me Alabama to win this one. And if there was a point spread, I would probably take Alabama still. But Alabama's winning this. It's not even going to be a game.
so it wouldn't matter what the point spread was. You're taking Alabama.
There's no matter. There's no matter in that. I'm taking Alabama. The next matchup, 12 o'clock matchup, the number 10 Louisville Cardinals travel to Miami to face the Miami Hurricanes. Miami is a 1-point favorite in this game with the over-under at 46.5. Joey, who do you like in this matchup?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. This one's gonna be close. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, it's gonna be close. I don't know. It's one of the games it's almost like a toss up. I actually got Miami winning this game, and just for the simple fact they're at home, and I know, like I said, I know they're coming off 2 losses, but they come off of 2 overtime wins against Virginia and Clemson. So, and the 2 losses, yeah, they lost to NC State, but then they lost to Florida State. So that's a given. But I think Miami comes out and they come out firing, and I think they give Louisville a good game, and I think they win by a touchdown. This is my upset alert right here.
Tickets are as low as $6, by the way, to this game. Uh, Miami come out
Yeah.
last week and they played Florida State pretty close. They almost had Florida State beat,
Mm-hmm.
but Florida State hung on, won the game. Louisville has only lost one game all year, and that was to Pitt. Louisville's been on a roll. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Louisville to win this game only because I'm looking forward to next Saturday. Louisville comes in on a big high with 10 wins and 1 loss, puffing their chest out. And I'll make that prediction next week on what I think happens there. But I think Louisville wins this week. I think that the over is probably, I'm going to say the over is not going to hit in this one. I'm taking the under. But Louisville will win, and $6 tickets there if you want it. They're there.
Hey, the under is definitely going to hit. But remember, when Miami gets their lead, we don't kneel in Miami.
No, we definitely don't kneel, and when we don't kneel, we don't win games either. So that's what I would say.
This is going to be. Hey, it's going to be a competitive game. Just wait and see.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
it's going to be a competitive game.
It may not be. It may not be. I might be wrong, but I'm just telling you. I think it's going to be a competitive game, and I think either team really is going to be right there to win it. So, but I don't
The
know.
only reason I'm picking Louisville for this is just because of future matchup Louisville has. You know what I'm saying?
But I really think Miami's got a legitimate shot, dude. I think they can. I think they can pull it off.
Yeah, Miami's a 1-point favorite, so I mean, I could see where. I mean, they're at home too, so I mean, they can win it. But like I said, my reasons are kind of personal reasons why I think Louisville's going to win it, just so they can
100%.
get humbled next week.
You want Louisville to come in with just that 1 loss, and then The
Yes.
Kentucky Wildcats just put them
Humble them
down.
next week. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Our next matchup in the top 25 will be the Rutgers Scarlet Knights heading to Happy Valley to face Penn State Nittany Lions, number 12, coming off of a loss to Michigan. Penn State is a 20.5-point favorite. The over-under is 40.5. Rutgers is coming off of a 24-0 loss to Iowa. Tickets to this game are as low as $5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup in the Big Ten?
Hey, I'm about to take $5 and go to this game. I mean, obviously, I got Penn, handling their business. I mean, do you realize that Allard has got 21 touchdowns and only one interception on the year? I mean, think about that. He's got 21 touchdowns and one pick. I mean, that's crazy. But, I mean, I got Penn covering everything here. Let me see. What's the over-under?
40.5.
40.5. I'm probably going to take the under in this game. It's just me. I think I'm going to take the under this game. I think Penn's going to come out and get 20, 25, 30-point lead, and they're just going to pull everybody, and it's going to be just a beatdown. That's just the way I see it.
2 weeks ago, Rutgers played Ohio State at Rutgers. Pretty close game all the way around. Thought Rutgers, maybe they got a pretty decent team. Then they go play Iowa, and Iowa completely shuts them down, doesn't give them anything. Penn State didn't look the greatest last week against Michigan. Penn State didn't look very good against Ohio State, but every other game they played, Penn State's looked pretty good. So I'm taking Penn State to win this. I think Penn State covers it, and I'm with you here. I see this like a 31-3 game. The under's hitting in this one. They're not going over on that one, but I've got Penn State winning this one as well. The next matchup we got, Louisiana Monroe, probably some sort of bird. I'm not sure what their mascot is. I don't know what they are. They travel to number 13 to face the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss is 8-2 on the season, coming off of a big loss to Georgia last week. But in this game, Ole Miss is a 37.5-point favorite. The over-under 62.5. Joey, tickets to this game are as low as $2. $2. Man,
$2.
Are you up to go to Mississippi this Saturday? And what do you think about this one?
Let's go. Let's just pack up and go. I mean, man, I didn't realize, but some of these matchups that we're picking for the first few games are like complete landslides. I mean, they got a 1.1% chance to win. Like, they're not going to win. I mean, I'm picking Ole Miss in this one to cover the spread. I'm probably going to take the over in this game, and I think Ole Miss will cover everything. It's just one of them old-fashioned clobbers. I mean, it's going to happen.
So I hate this week in the SEC for this reason here. A lot of these bigger teams, the last week before the last week of the season, they always play these smaller schools and everything. And it's like, man, keep those at the beginning of the year. That way we can have competitive football around Thanksgiving time. But they do it, and that's the way it's been for a while.
Keep the cupcakes for the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Eat the dessert first, then have the meal afterwards. But I will take Ole Miss to win this game. They're covering that 37.5-point spread. I don't think the over is going to hit because I don't think Louisiana Monroe is going to score a whole lot with 2-8 record. But Ole Miss wins, and it's not even close. This is going to be a game for their backups to get plenty of run in that matchup.
100%.
The next matchup, one of our favorite teams to bet on, the number 14 Oklahoma Sooners travel to Provo, Utah to face BYU Cougars. Oklahoma's a 24-point favorite. The over-under is 57.5. Joey, what do you think about our betting team we got here?
Well, I'm taking the under in this game. Just right off the bat, I'm just taking the under. But I do got Oklahoma winning the game. And, it just when I see Oklahoma, I think which version of Dylan Gabriel is going to show up? Like which one? The one who he can hit his receivers. Him and Stoops, him and Walker, they can get on the same page, or is it just going to be just they're completely off sync? But I got Oklahoma winning. I got them covering the spread, but I got the under in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you here, man. I've got Oklahoma winning this game. I actually don't think that they're going to cover this spread. No, actually, they're going to cover the spread. They beat down West Virginia last week pretty good. We had a good version of Dylan Gabriel. I think we're getting back-to-back games of the good version of Dylan Gabriel. BYU's not a very good team at all. It's their first year in the Big 12. It's Oklahoma's last year in the Big 12. But Oklahoma's going to win this game. They're covering that spread. But I'm taking the under in this one. 57.5 is a lot. And I just don't think that BYU will score a whole lot. Oklahoma can score a little bit. But like you said, it's which Oklahoma team are we getting? And it's, it's hard telling from week to week.
It's Jekyll and Hyde, man, with them.
Next matchup, number 24, Tulane Green Wave, out there in their North Carolina-looking uniforms, will face the Florida Atlantic Owls. Florida Atlantic, Tulane is a 9-point favorite. The over-under is 47.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
I got this game being competitive, but I got Tulane winning, and I got them covering the spread, and I got the over. Both teams. I've watched. Me and you both have watched both teams play, and they can both score points. Look at Tulane, dude. 9-1, 24 in the country. Those kids have to be like just on the cloud 9 right now. And they deserve it. So, but yeah, I got Tulane winning, covering the spread, and I got the over.
I've got Tulane winning this game as well, but I don't think that they cover because last week they were a big favorite over Tulsa. Only beat them by 2. Week before, big favorite over East Carolina, only won by 3. Rice the week before, big favorite, only won by 2. And North Texas, 10-point favorite, won by 7. Yada, yada, yada. The whole thing this whole season. They're 9-1. All they do is win. I don't think, win, win, win no matter what. I don't think it's going to matter who they're playing this week. Florida Atlantic is 4-6. Not the best record. They could score some, but Tulane will win this game. But they're not covering that spread. And what did I say the over-under was on this one? 47.5. Give me the under on that one.
Yeah.
The next matchup. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
The next matchup, a top 25 matchup, coming out of the Pac-12. Number 22, Utah Utes travel to number 17, Arizona, to face the Arizona Wildcats. Arizona is a 1-point favorite in this one with the over-under at 46.5. Joey, what do you think about this first top 25 matchup of the game or of the week?
Wow. Man, could you get any closer on anything? Everything's almost 50-50 down the middle. I've actually got Arizona winning this. And Arizona, to me, they've just – even in the games they've lost, they've played better. Their morale's better. I like Arizona for some reason. and I'm not an Arizona fan, obviously, but I don't know. I just like Arizona in this one. Um, let's see. So they're a 1-point favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely got them covering that spread.
Yep.
And the over under, what'd you say it was? It's not showing me.
47.5.
47. Yeah. Give me the over in this game. Arizona winning, Arizona covering spread. I mean, don't get me wrong. Utah's a great team. They are. But I just got Arizona to take care of business.
I'm with you on this one. Arizona kind of struggled last week to beat Colorado and Coach Prime. One of our favorite teams to pick with here, Colorado.
I love Colorado. Love them.
But they, before last week's game, they beat lost to USC by 2, lost to Washington by 7. So they faced 5 straight ranked teams.
Triple overtime to USC.
Awful. But I think this week they come out and they're winning because they're on this roll right now. They're going to beat another ranked team this week in Utah. And the over-under, I'm going to go ahead and say that they're going to hit the over in this one. Give me the Arizona Wildcats for the win. The next top 25 matchup comes out of the SEC. The number 1, yes, they're number 1 again. They're back in the top spot where they belong, in my opinion. The Georgia Bulldogs travel to Knoxville to face those dirty, low-down, rotten Tennessee Volunteers, number 18 in the country. Snitches. Georgia is a 10-point favorite. The over-under is 50. Joey, what do you think about this garbage truck worker convention? This football game this week between Georgia and Tennessee.
I'm going to say something right now. Obviously, I got Georgia winning, and I got them covering the spread. But I'm going to take the under in this game. Oh. And I'll tell you why. Because I've seen Georgia come out in so many big games, so many games they come out, and they start out so flat. You know what I mean? And you're thinking, oh, this is it. This is it. Here we go. Georgia's getting upset. And then they come out in the second half, and they blow it open. So I got Georgia handling the garbage truck men, 100%, covering the spread, but I got the under in this game. That's just, dude, don't get me wrong. Georgia deserves to be number 1. They haven't lost the game all year, didn't lose the game all last year. They should have been number 1 from the very beginning and should have never been a question at all. But I got the under in this game. The under is what I'm going with.
I like it. I like it a lot. But I'm going with Georgia to cover this spread as well. Georgia, they're back at the number 1 spot where they belong. They definitely earned it. They belong there. Haven't lost, like you said, in 2 years. Definitely deserve to be number 1. Tennessee last week played absolutely horrible against Missouri, getting beat down 36-7. While Georgia, on the other hand, took care of Ole Miss 52-17. Ole Miss was a top 10 team. Tennessee has struggled playing the bigger teams this year. Look at Alabama. Look at Missouri, who is not really a big team. I mean, they're a good team, but are they that much better than Tennessee? I don't know.
No,
Georgia,
they're not.
Georgia will beat Tennessee. I am also going to take the under in this one, only because I don't think Tennessee is going to score very much this year against Georgia. Georgia's going to put up a bunch of points, but they're not going to put up enough for that over hits, but they will put up enough to cover that 10-point spread. Give me the dogs.
Give me the dogs.
The next matchup is a huge 10. This could be potential game of the week right here, Joey. The Illinois Fighting Illini travel to Iowa City, Iowa, to face the number 16 explosive offense of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa's a 3-point favorite. The over-under in this one is kind of high for an Iowa football game, 31.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
I got Iowa under and covering the spread. Under. Because I'm telling you, Iowa, Wisconsin, and it's the same way with college basketball. Like if you got Wisconsin, any Big Ten team, it's the under. I mean, I've hit on the under, and so have you on any kind of wager we got on them. You'd hit the under every time, just about it. I definitely got Iowa winning the game, though. I mean, Iowa's definitely a better team. I mean, Illinois struggles a lot. I mean, look, their quarterback, he's thrown for 1,883 yards, and he's got 10 picks. I mean, that they just struggle on offense, and I got Iowa winning, covering the spread, and I got the under in the game.
Illinois can put up points. I mean, they put up 48 last week against Indiana. They put up 27.
In overtime.
In overtime, yeah. They put 27, 21, 27. But those were all against Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, Nebraska, Iowa, or Indiana. All the crappy teams you could think of out of the Big Ten. Iowa.
All the under teams.
Iowa is not a very good offensive team, but are an elite defensive team. Iowa will win this game, and there's 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and the under in any Iowa football game. Give me the under on this one. Give me the Iowa win. Iowa won last week. The over-under was 27. It was 22-0. They scored all the points. I think Illinois will score at least a touchdown, maybe a field goal at the least. I think that they will get on the board, but that's about it. And Iowa's not scoring much more than that. But give me Iowa to win this one. And we're taking the under, of course. I mean, you got to. It's Iowa football.
Got to.
The next matchup, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons travel to Notre Dame, Indiana, South Bend, to face the number 19 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It'll be the Sam Hartman Bowl, as Notre Dame is a 24.5-point favorite with the over-under at 46.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
I mean, no contest. I mean, Notre Dame wins. I mean, Wake Forest, they're 1 in their last 5. They lost to NC State, Duke, Florida State, which those are all good teams. And they actually beat Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh is another one of them teams where you don't know if the giant killer is going to show up or if the regular Pittsburgh is going to show up. But yeah, I got Notre Dame winning this. I got Wake Forest on the spread because I think they'll keep it somewhat competitive. I don't think that Notre Dame will cover the spread. Just my opinion. Yeah.
I'm going to go with you here. I think that Notre Dame wins the game. I don't think that they cover this spread because Wake Forest is really familiar with Notre Dame's starting quarterback. Sam Hartman, of course, transferred from Wake Forest to Notre Dame. I think that Wake Forest will keep it within that. I mean, they may get beat by 24, but they're still going to cover the spread. But give me Notre Dame for the win, Wake Forest for the cover, and the over-under is 46.5. And I will probably take the over. I'll take the over in this one. Yeah, give me the over. And estimate for Notre Dame, I'm going to go ahead and call it. He's scoring a touchdown on the ground.
100%. I agree.
The next matchup is near and dear to your heart, Joey. 3:30 matchup. Number 20, North Carolina Tar Heels, coming off a big rivalry win over Duke last week, travel to Clemson, South Carolina to face those Clemson Tigers. Clemson's a 7.5-point favorite at home with the over-under 58.5. Joey, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, you know what? It's like we say, you bet with your heart, you pick with your heart, you're gonna lose. All right. In this matchup, I'm telling you right now, Carolina on the road. This is one of these matchups where I know it's near and dear to my heart, and I can't really tell you exactly what's going to happen because it's a team that I'm really close to. But if Carolina comes out, they play the way they can play, and Drake May has a good game, Omarion Hampton has a good game, then yes, we will win the game. But if not, Clemson will win this game. I mean, look at the Duke game. I mean, I was sitting here watching the game like with toothpicks in my eyes. It went in 2 overtimes, and we were lucky to come out with a win on a controversial call. There was a controversial call, but I know everybody's gonna get on me in the comments or whatever about that. But
Homer.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, overall, I guess I got 2 picks on this. If I'm picking by taking out the logos and just looking at the stats, I think Clemson wins the game. But with me, if Carolina comes out, they can play the way they play, and they take care of business, they'll win the game. I know it's an odd pick for me, and I'm sorry, but I can't help it. That's just – but obviously, if I'm picking on our podcast, I do got Clemson winning the game because Clemson's at home, and Carolina is prone to turnovers. They're prone to letting a team – they're prone to getting a lead and then letting a team come back in the second half and win the game. So I guess I got Clemson win this game.
Since Tyler and Spartanburg called in to Coach Swinney's call-in show a couple of weeks ago and asked him about his salary and all this and that, and then Clemson has reeled off 2 in a row over Notre Dame and then an impressive win last week over Georgia Tech. Clemson's got it rolling in the right direction right now. North Carolina coming off a big rivalry win last week over Duke. Big in-state rivalry. Those 2 teams hate each other. North Carolina won it. Controversial or not, they still did. I think this matchup, North Carolina is coming into Clemson, and they're covering that spread because they're winning straight up. North Carolina wins this game. The over's hitting because there's going to be a lot of offense in this one. Hampton is going to go off on the ground this week. Drake May, Tez Walker, that combination is, one of the best in college football when they got it going. Give me North Carolina in this one because Dabo Swinney's got his eye on Texas A&M right now. He's got 1 foot out the door, in my opinion. That's a perfect place for him to go because he's not going to do anything else in Clemson. Give me North Carolina for the upset on the road, Joey. Carolina, go Heels.
Well, let me go ahead and give me a little extra minute here on this one. Because, look, if you look at their schedule and you circle them 2 wins or them 2 losses, Georgia Tech and Virginia, if they had not have lost them 2 games, that right there, to me, showed their weaknesses. And, man, they struggled against Duke, and they shouldn't have. They should not have struggled against Duke. I watched the game in its entirety right here sitting on my couch, yelling from the couch, and it's that they should have won it. They should have won the game outright in regulation. And I just, don't get me wrong, I bleed Carolina blue. I've got them tattooed on my body like I bleed Carolina blue. But when it comes to football this year, I don't know. I just can't say for sure. And I know it's bad when you're a fan of a team, but you probably know where I'm coming from. When it comes to a matchup with Kentucky and another school, you're like, man, I don't know. It's one of them things where I hope the true Carolina football team comes to show up. Drake May, Tez Walker, Omarion Hampton. I hope they all come to show up. If they do, we win it easily. But after them 2 losses, man, they just, I don't know. They're a little inconsistent for me.
I'll go with this right here. Clemson lost to Duke in the first game of the year. Last week, North Carolina beat Duke. So if you use that logic right there, Carolina wins.
Yeah, true. But you know how it is when you're a fan. You like I said, you bet with your heart, you pick with your heart, you lose with your heart, and you lose everything with your heart. Like I don't know. I'm a little shaky with Carolina right now in football.
I know how it is. Just look at me and Kentucky and Kansas the other day, how I felt before the game.
Yeah.
Kind of the same way. All right. The next matchup this is another good matchup here out of the Big Ten right here. The Minnesota Golden Gophers travel to Columbus to face the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State's a 27.5-point favorite. The over-under is 49.5. Joey, is this going to be a game?
It's going to be a game for Harrison Jr. I predict this is his coming out party. He's going to score 2 touchdowns in this game. I'm predicting it right now. Circle this game on your calendar. It's going to be Harrison Jr. show. I know their quarterback does not target him that much like he should, but I got Ohio State winning, covering the spread. And what'd you say the over-under was? It was?
It is 49.5.
49.5. I got the under in this game.
Well, I like those picks right there. I'm going to agree with you here. I'm going to say that Ohio State's going to win this game. They're going to win easily. Minnesota don't have nothing for Ohio State. McCord, like we've talked about him, he's kind of struggled this year. I mean, his stats really don't show it, but you watch him play and you can just see that something's missing there. He's definitely not, what they had last year in C.J. Stroud, but he still has Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, and that guy's an elite wide receiver. He's going to find him this week once again. Henderson's going to run the ball pretty well for Ohio State, and that defense is elite. Give me Ohio State for the win here. Give me the cover. I'm also taking the under only because I don't think Minnesota is going to put up very many points compared to Ohio State's to get over that 49.5. The next matchup, another great matchup. Another one that this is actually one of our favorites to bet on. This team right here, almost a guaranteed win every week in sports betting. Number 6, Oregon Ducks travel to Tempe, Arizona to face the Arizona State Sun Devils. Oregon's a 23.5-point favorite. The over-under 53.5. Joey, what about our Ducks here?
I like the Ducks in any game they play. I mean, and I don't want to sound weird here, but anybody that knows me, if you know I'm a Carolina fan, cover your ears. But Oregon is one of my favorite teams in college football. And when I say that, I mean they're one of my favorite teams that has a legitimate shot to be in the college football playoff. And I'll be very disappointed if they're not, because I like Oregon. I like everything they're about. I got them winning this game, covering the spread, and I got the over in this game because Oregon just can flat out put up points. I mean, they damn well have half of this over in the first half themselves. So, I mean, Oregon's just a buzzsaw, man. I mean, yeah, they lost to Washington by 3 points. So, I mean, I like Oregon.
Look, I like Oregon in this one too. I mean, they just roll out of bed and they piss excellence. Bo Nix threw for 400
Exactly.
yards last week, 4 touchdowns. Bucky Irving had 118 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. T-Roy Franklin, here's the stat line here. 2 catches last week, 147 yards, 1 touchdown.
Wow. Wow.
Now, Oregon last week, they did not hit the over. They surprised. The over was really high. It was like 76 or something like that. And they only, between them and USC, they only scored 63 points. Only. Only. This week, Oregon wins this game 53.5. I don't know if they're going to cover that one either, only because I don't think Arizona State's going to score anything on them at all. If, it's going to be very minimal. Oregon covers the spread for sure, but I'm taking the under in this one only because I don't see Arizona State scoring that much. And when Oregon gets up like 38-6, they're probably going to start setting guys. So give me Oregon to cover and give me the under in that one. But definitely one of our favorite teams that we bet on every week is Oregon, no doubt about it.
And that's why I love Oregon. They have made me quite a bit of money this year. So
yeah, on sports betting for sure. Next matchup, the number 23 Oklahoma State Cowboys coming off of a very disappointing loss last week to Cincinnati. Travel to Houston to face the Houston Texans. Not just kidding. The Houston Astros. No, sorry. The Houston Rockets. No, wait a second. We're Houston Cougars. That's more like it.
there you
Oklahoma
go. You got it
State's a
that time.
6.5-point favorite. It only took me 4 times. Houston or Oklahoma State's a 6.5-point favorite. The over/under is 58.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, if this was basketball, I would say Houston all the way. But this is football. So I've got Oregon State, winning this game. They're a good team, man. And Houston's not a bad team. They've just had some lapses in the year. Like I said, like you said, they come off a loss to Cincinnati, 24-14. The last game they played Baylor, 25-24 in overtime. So, it's going to be a competitive game. I got Oregon State winning. I got them winning by a touchdown, so they're going to cover the spread. And I've got the under in this game. So, I think it's going to be one of them games where it's going to come down to, back and forth, 3 and outs. So I got the under, but I got Oklahoma State winning.
Both of these teams last week coming off of a very disappointing week. Houston losing to Cincinnati, who is just awful. And Oklahoma State was number 15 in the country last week before they headed to Orlando. And
Terrible.
UCF, 45-3 in a monsoon, just absolutely beat down Oklahoma State. And if you had Oklahoma State in the parlay and lost because of that game, you do not trust Oklahoma State anymore.
No.
But they're playing Houston, who I think is also just completely horrible. I'm going to take Oklahoma State in this one. I don't think they cover. I'm actually going to take the over. I think both these teams, neither one's got a defense and they got a decent offense. I think that they'll score some points, but it's not going to be pretty a game to watch. They're definitely not having the defense out there. Give me Oklahoma State to win this one by a field goal, going over in this one over Houston. The next matchup.
Great.
It should be a barn burner right here. Oh, yeah. The North Alabama. I'm going to go ahead and guess here. It looks like a lion. I don't know. We'll have to fact check that one. Travel to Tallahassee to face the number 4 Florida State Seminoles. There is no line or no over-under on this one. Joey, what do you think about North Alabama's chances against Florida State?
0. And I don't understand why ESPN, if you look it up on ESPN, the matchup predictor, It has 1%. Okay, it should go less than 1% because Florida State's not losing this game. I mean, I would feel comfortable betting my whole bankroll in my sports book on Florida State. Jordan Travis, he's only got 2 picks on the year. He gets it done. I mean, he just absolutely. I don't care what the line is. I would pick them to cover, and I would probably take the over in this game if there was a line.
The only way into the North Alabama Lions, I got that right, by the way, humble brag,
Yes.
wins this game is if all of Florida State's players somehow get, sickness or something before the game. That's the only way it's happening. Because any other way, it's not happening. Florida State wins. Florida State covers whatever spread you want to give this game because there is no spread. Like you said, Jordan Travis has had a great year. Trey Benson has also had a great year on the ground. 10 touchdowns for him, 721 yards. Florida State wins, and they probably pull their starters by halftime. And North Alabama line can put out their best guys to play Florida State's fourth string, and it really won't matter in this one. Check out the CW to see a beatdown at 6:30 this Saturday with Florida State winning.
Exactly. I mean, look at Coleman. I mean, their receiver, 10 touchdowns as well. I mean, they're just having a good year, man.
The next matchup, it's a rivalry matchup. A week before all the rivalry games happen, number 21, Kansas State Wildcats travel to Lawrence to face the number 25 Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas State is a 9.5-point favorite on the road. The over-under 57.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
This one is one of them, like you joked about it in the last matchup. This is going to be a barn burner, man. It's going to be, man, I got Kansas winning. And it's just, I mean, Neal on the ground, Bean, they've been pretty consistent. I got Kansas winning this one. And I think the over-under is 57.5. I got the under in this game. And obviously I've got Kansas winning. So I got Kansas covering the spread.
Kansas last week played at home against Texas Tech, and Texas Tech beat them 16-13. Kansas's starting quarterback, Mr. Bean, went down with an injury early. He's expected to be out again this week. So they had their third-string quarterback in because something was up with their second-string quarterback. He led them down the field, walk on, all this, threw a pick. He apparently got hurt in practice early this week. So now they're down their top 3 quarterbacks going against Kansas State. I'm going to take Kansas State in this one. And I think that they're going to cover this spread. If Mr. Bean played, I would probably go with Kansas on this one. But where he's not playing, give me Kansas State. They absolutely beat down Baylor last week, which isn't saying much because Baylor has struggled all season long. But Kansas State has had a lot of close games this year. This is a rivalry game, but their big guy's not playing. The big quarterback for Kansas isn't playing, and neither is their backup or their other one. Give me Kansas State. I'm taking the under in this one as well because I don't know if Kansas is going to be able to reel off as many points as they used to with Mr. Bean back there. Neal's a good running back, but he can only do so much. Kansas wins this one. Kansas State wins this one, not Kansas. Kansas State.
I can see where you're going. I still got Kansas winning. We'll circle that one.
All right, we'll circle that one. We'll come back to it.
We'll circle it.
The next matchup is out of the Pac-12. Number 5, Washington Huskies travel to Corvallis, Oregon to face the number 11 Oregon State Beavers. Oregon State is a 1-point favorite in this game with the over-under at 62.5. Joey,
no way.
What do you think about this matchup?
No way. I mean, look, I get it. I mean, they're showing love to Oregon State. Let's put it that way. I I mean, what do you expect? You can't count out Penix Jr. I mean, he's a Heisman candidate. I mean, he's in the front running right now for it. I got Washington winning this one, and man, the over under is tough in this one because they both can put up points. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, when you look at their last 5 losses of each team, like the only loss you see is Oregon State losing to Arizona by 3. So it's one of them toss-up games. But man, I'm gonna have to go with the under, and I got Washington winning by like a field goal. Like it's going to be close.
I'm with you in this one here. I mean, I don't see why Oregon State is the favorite in this game.
Me neither.
Washington is undefeated, haven't lost yet. I know they played close last week against Utah. Beat
They're at
USC the
home.
week
That's probably
before in
why.
the shootout. Stanford, they beat Stanford. Arizona State, they struggled. They beat Oregon. I mean, they've beat everybody on the schedule. Oregon State, they've struggled a little bit this year. Actually, they've had a pretty good year, but they've had a couple of losses there. Oregon State is at home, and that's what they're going by. They beat down Stanford last week. Had a close call against Coach Prime in the Buffs the week before that, and then lost to Arizona. Give me Washington in this one. Washington, of course, they're covering. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the over in this one. I think it's going to be a shootout. And
It could be. It could be.
Washington's going to win in a very entertaining Pac-12 matchup. I believe if Oregon wins this week, we get the rematch of Washington-Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game.
Oh my!
Circle that on the calendar. Yes.
I don't know what I would pick on that one. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you right now. That might be one of them. I'd have no clue, but
Just
we'll see.
stumped for a little bit in silence.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you.
The next matchup is out of the SEC. The Florida Gators travel to Columbia, Missouri to face the number 9 Missouri Tigers. Missouri coming off of a beatdown of Tennessee. Missouri's an 11-point favorite with the over-under at 57.5. Joey, what do you think about this one?
All right. Well, obviously Missouri's the better team, and they're playing at home. So I got Missouri winning. And man, I don't know if I would go with Missouri covering the 11-point spread, just because Florida, even though they got a 5-5 record, they're a talented team. I mean, they lost to LSU. I see that they lost to Arkansas, and obviously they lost to Georgia. Everybody's lost to Georgia, so I just think. I mean, Florida. Yeah, I mean, Florida's talented, but I got Missouri winning, and I got Florida covering the spread, and I got the under in the game. That's just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Florida will keep it competitive, but in the end, I think Missouri will win.
I've got Missouri in this one. I got Missouri covering this one too. Missouri last week with a beatdown over Tennessee at home. Florida with a loss to LSU. They put up some points. But LSU's defense isn't very good. Missouri's defense has shown that it can be pretty decent. And its offense has shown that it can be really, really good. Give me Missouri in this one. I think Missouri covers that spread. I think the under is going to hit in this one too, only because I don't think Florida's putting up that much points against Missouri. Also, I think that this right here, Florida will lose this week. They'll go to 5-6, and next week they'll lose to Florida State, of course, and that will get Billy Napier fired from Florida after a 5-7 season, and they won't be going bowling this year. Missouri wins, Missouri covers, and the under hits.
You're probably right about that, like 100%.
The next matchup, Longhorns Ames, Iowa to face the Iowa State Cyclones. Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. The over-under is 46.5. Joey, who you like in this matchup?
I like Texas in this matchup. Like, who wouldn't? Texas is another one of them teams where it's almost like Oregon. Like, Texas is solid. I mean, I know they had the 4-point loss to Oklahoma. And again, which Oklahoma team's going to show up? But I like Texas in this one. I think they'll cover the spread easily. And I think the over will hit in this one. I mean, they've scored, 29-26, 33-30, 35-36, 35-6. I mean, I just think the over will cover in this one.
I'm kind of mad at Texas. Let me tell you why. Last week, I had Texas plus 12.5 over TCU. Cool. They had a 20-point lead over TCU. All right, cool. We're rocking and rolling. Texas only won by 3 against TCU and didn't cover that spread. But Iowa State, on the other hand, they beat BYU 45-13 at BYU. They've lost to Kansas. They got blown out by Oklahoma. They lost to Ohio, the Bobcats. A little Maction action there.
Well, Max.
And they lost to Iowa. But
yep.
I don't think that they're going to beat Texas. Texas is the better team, no matter how bad they disappointed me last week. I'm not going to kick them on put them on my ban list. Give me Texas to win this game. Not yet. Not yet. If they lose this one here, maybe. Texas wins. Texas covers. And I'm going to take the under in this one as well. But Texas will win this game, yeah. They're going to get back on track, and they're going to start covering stuff again. The last top 25 matchup that we will discuss in this one.
Oh, my.
The Georgia State Panthers, I'm going to guess Panthers, travel to Baton Rouge, Louisiana to face the number 15 LSU Tigers. This is another great game here. LSU is a 32-point favorite with the over-under at 72.5. Joey, what do you think about this matchup?
I think the over is going to hit. I can tell you that right now. Because, I mean, both teams, you look at their records, they're putting up, 40-plus points. I mean, every game. But I think LSU is going to win. And, look, a 32-point spread, you would instantly want to think, yes, LSU will cover that. But you got to think about how college football is. Like, if you get up by 25, 30 points, you're going to pull your starters. And then if they score a touchdown, oh, well, we're still up 25 points. Those teams ain't looking to cover any spreads. They're just looking for the win. So I got LSU winning. I got the over hitting. And, man, I got Georgia State covering the spread. I've been burnt too many times. Like, I know how it works.
I'm with you here, man. We have watched some Georgia State football, especially that game where they played Georgia Southern earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
LSU is going to win this game. LSU can put points up in a hurry. LSU's defense also can give up points in a hurry. Yep. LSU will win this game. LSU will not cover the 32-point spread. It's going to be a little bit closer than that. I mean, it may be 20, but it won't be covered. But the over is definitely getting hit. 72 points, 72.5, forget it. It's going over in this one. LSU wins that game. But they don't cover, and the over is what's going to hit in that one.
I'm going to say 25. 25-20 is what LSU will win by.
Yeah, 20-25. I'd say that's probably a safe bet right there.
Yep.
Well, that's all the top 25 matchups. However, there's one game we're going to pick here that's not in the top 25. The Kentucky Wildcats travel to Columbia, South Carolina to face those South Carolina Gamecocks. South Carolina is a 0.5 favorite. The over-under is 54.5. Joey, what do you think about the Kentucky-South Carolina matchup?
Well, I obviously got Kentucky winning. I mean, with Ray Davis, I don't know. Kentucky's one of them teams that I almost compare to North Carolina. Like, what could have been? You know what I mean? It's like, with just a few things that you button up, you could have been 6-1 or 8-1 right now. I got Kentucky winning, and I got Kentucky covering the spread, and I probably got the over in the game.
Kentucky last week was coming off a very disappointing performance against Alabama. Obviously, not too many people thought Kentucky would actually win against Alabama, but there was a chance that maybe we could keep it close, 7-point game, keep it competitive the whole time. Alabama came out. They weren't messing around. Milroe ran for 3 touchdowns, threw for 3 or whatever it was. I mean, it was like total of 5. First Alabama quarterback to do it in history. Of course, it was against Kentucky at Kentucky's field. 21-0. Kentucky spotted them 21 points. After that, they kind of settled in and made it 49-21. So Kentucky, after that 21-point spot, it was 28-21. But you got to play a whole game, and it was a beatdown. It was an embarrassment. Kentucky really couldn't get the running game going because they didn't have a chance to because they had to pass. Leary is still off. He just hasn't been, what we expected all season long. But in this matchup, I like Kentucky to win this. South Carolina is not a very good team. They lost to, Tennessee, Florida, Missouri, Texas A&M, Georgia. I mean, there's no shame. Those are all good teams. And they lost to North Carolina. Jacksonville State played them pretty close a couple weeks ago. They are coming off of a big win against Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt is completely bottom of the barrel of the SEC. They are not a very good team at all. South Carolina is just a step up from Vanderbilt. I think Kentucky goes in this week on the road and picks up a much-needed win. Heading into that Louisville game next week, which we'll talk about. Give me Kentucky. Give me the under in that one. 54.5 is a lot of points. I'm taking the under. But I'm taking the Cats to win it.
I mean, you couldn't have said it any better about a much-needed win. I mean, losing 4 out of their last 5, I mean, they need a win. And this has to be a win. It's just, if you're a Kentucky fan, this is a game that you go into and there's a lot of pressure because you're thinking, okay, we have to have a win here. This has to be a win. And South Carolina comes into it thinking they ain't got nothing to play for. So
South Carolina
I think Kentucky will get it done though. 100%.
So, I mean, it's a long shot for South Carolina. They'd have to win against Kentucky, and then they'd have to beat Clemson next week. And
well, true.
Whatever Clemson team shows up, it depends. If they can beat North Carolina, they'll show up ready to play against South Carolina. If they lose North Carolina, they're not going to they're going to be checked out and not worried about South Carolina.
I'm just saying for this game only purposes. Like South Carolina's coming in thinking, well, we probably don't got a shot at a bowl or anything, so we're just going to try to spoil Kentucky's hopes. You know what I mean? So it's one of them games where Kentucky's got to come in and be like, we have to have this win.
And hopefully after that beatdown last week, Kentucky doesn't have the attitude of, well, we took a beat down last week. We're going to turn one loss into two, which we all know too well. Kentucky is bad about that. And since starting 5-0 for the season, I mean, they're 1-4 since. It's not good. Got to get it back on track here. If you can win Saturday and head into Louisville next week with a momentum, I think the Cats can, still have 8-4. Still a good season for Kentucky football. So, man, that's our picks for the NCAA this week. Now we're going to touch on a little college basketball. Starting off first, since the last time we talked on here, your North Carolina Tar Heels hosted the Lehigh. What is the Lehigh mascot?
Oh, my Lord. I wouldn't have any idea.
I have no idea. Some sort of bird.
That's bad.
The Lehigh, some sort of birds. North Carolina, number 19, defeated the Lehigh, some sort of birds, 90-68. Armando Bacot, 22 points and 20 rebounds. Joey, what'd you think about that game there with your Tar Heels winning?
Well, look, I watched the game from start to finish, and in the second half, they let Lehigh come back, get within like 5 points, and it was late in the second half, and I'm like, all right, guys. I mean, Carolina still got some wrinkles to work out with all the new players in, the transfers. You got Cormac Ryan coming in from Notre Dame. I mean, he's a 3-point threat. But our bread and butter is Armando Bacot and RJ Davis. I mean, RJ Davis is the catalyst. He's what makes us go. I think we'll be okay. And we led for most of the game. I really didn't get nervous or nothing. It was just, they let them come back and get within like one possession. And to me, the standards I have set for North Carolina basketball, me being a basketball person my whole life, like that standard is when you have a team like this coming in, you blow them out. You don't let them get within anything in the second half. And that's just me being picky. But, ultimately it comes down to their kids. Things are going to happen. But I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, a win's a win. They looked a lot better than they did that first game against Radford. Their next game will be Friday night, which will be tonight, 8 o'clock against UC Riverside. They should handle business again there. And then the real test will start next week with the Battle for Atlantis tournament when they face Northern Iowa in the first round. Excited to watch that. That'll be fun matchup. I love these Thanksgiving week tournaments, these preseason tournaments. Love them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got two matchups coming up. And on November 29th, we got Tennessee. And then, we got Florida State on December 2nd. And then, December 16th, circle that on your little calendar. We got Kentucky. And here's the thing. It don't get any easier for us. We got Oklahoma after that. Then we got Kentucky. Then before that, we got UConn on December 5th. And then Florida State on December 2nd. So, and then Tennessee, number 7 Tennessee on November 29th. So, we got a tough, after UC Riverside and Northern Iowa, we got a tough schedule coming up. So, which I love it. I love a tough schedule early in the year because it lets you see where your team's at. And games right now don't matter. They matter, but they don't. You can't judge a team if they lose to, say North Carolina loses to number 7 Tennessee. You can't really judge that as Tennessee's better because the season's so early. I mean, I don't know. We got a tough schedule coming up.
Or even before the Tennessee game, I mean, you could be possibly facing Texas Tech in that battle for Atlantis, Villanova, Memphis, Michigan. Who's the other two teams?
Oh, it's
that's
tough.
in that battle for Atlantis. There's two other teams: Stanford, Arkansas, who could be one of the better teams in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot
tough.
of potential for a lot of. Yeah, it's a tough schedule coming up for Carolina after UC Riverside. But like you said, that's what you want. You want them tough games to begin the season. Speaking of tough games to begin the season, the Kentucky Wildcats played Tuesday night against those number one Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas wins 89 to 84. Kentucky had a 14-point lead in the second half and lost it to Kansas. I think they just got tired towards the end there. Hunter Dickinson's a big crybaby. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Man, the dude gets elbowed in the face and he complains about it, but he also hits somebody in the face at the same time. And nothing, it didn't say nothing about that. Whined and complained about everything, was like pretty much dancing on Mitchell's knee at one point in time and tripped and fell, and they called a foul on Mitchell, although Dickinson initiated the call. But, that's all sour grapes and stuff. But Kansas is the number one team. Kentucky hung in with them. I like Kentucky's team right now. They don't have a big guy, and that's why Dickinson ended up with 21 rebounds. Kentucky had a big guy in there. I like their chances a little bit better. Plus, it would have given some of their players a little bit more rest. Like Mitchell wouldn't have had to play the whole 40 minutes. Fiero and all them guys, they were starting to get tired towards the end of the game. They didn't get as much breathers as the Kansas guys did. Kentucky played pretty well. I like the fight that they had in them. Lost it towards the end. Coaching was not the best down the stretch, especially the last 4 minutes. You have a 14-point lead. I don't care if it's against the number one team or not. You're a top 20 team. You're wanting to do something later on in the year. You've got to protect that lead, and you've got to pull out that win. And that all starts with coaching right there. The last play of the game was drawn up for Antonio Reeves. You, me, Kansas, everybody knew that play was going to Reeves, and Calipari did not have a backup plan for if they double-teamed Reeves. And Reed Shepherd had an off-balance three-pointer. He rushed it. He's a freshman. That's going to happen. He'll get better at that. But the coach has got to let him know, hey, there's time. Take a breath. Take a step. Get a better shot, and go from there. Joey, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Calipari should have called a timeout with, let's just say the under-8 media timeout. He should have set his team down and been like, look, we have the lead, okay? The scoreboard is our friend, and the clock is our friend. So why do we need to shoot threes? I mean, and look, I'm a Carolina fan, but I live in Kentucky. I'll go ahead and admit it. I'm not a Kentucky hater, but I'm just not a fan of John Calipari. And the reason why is because his coaching style, man, it's like, and Brent, you've seen it in other coaches. You've seen it in Bill Self. You've seen it in Roy Williams. You've seen it in Mike Krzyzewski. You've seen it in tons of other coaches. I could go on and on. If you've got a 12, 14-point lead in the second half, that coach is going to forbid them to shoot a three. Like, why would you even attempt a three? Why? Beat it down low to your big man. Dribble drive, draw fouls, go to the free throw line, and the game's over. I mean, I just don't – and he may have told them that, but I can't put all the blame on Calipari because he may have told them that, but as a coach, when you tell somebody something, what the kids do on the floor is a completely different thing. So you can't just put all the blame on the coach, but at the same time, man, it just it hurt me a little bit to see Kentucky ahead by 12, 14 points, and still you got Antonio Reeves out there on the top of the key dribbling the ball with no passes and jacks up a three. Like, I just don't understand, me being a basketball mind, like, to me, it's 3 passes and then a shot. That was my rule when I coached. It was 3 passes and then a shot. I don't care if you're open. 3 passes and a shot. That was it. So that's just my opinion.
Kansas started out the game. They were up 9-0. Calipari put in Dillingham, Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd comes in and gets 2 steals right off the bat. Boom, quick hands. He's got some quick hands.
Spark plug. He's the spark plug of this team.
Mm-hmm. Him and Aduthiero. Aduthiero was all over the place the other day. He's not going to give you. I mean, he shot a couple of threes. That's not his game. His game is the, like you said, to go out and just go grab a rebound here, keep a play alive, just be that energy guy. And Reed Shepherd's the spark plug. Dillingham come out there. He hit 4 straight threes. And then the next time down, he passes over to Reeves for an assist for a 3. Right after that, what happens right after that? John Calipari takes Dillingham out of the game and sets him on the bench. What are you doing? He's got the hot hand. Keep him in the game until he proves that he has not got the hot hand anymore. It's that simple. But Dillingham did make some mistakes.
But he wasn't in foul trouble. He wasn't in foul trouble. There's no reason to take him out of the game.
Yeah. Exactly. He hadn't made a mistake until that point. But he did make a mistake when he put him back in the game. And that led to Hunter Dickinson hitting that 3 right before the halftime and doing the whatever he did, the half, DX chop at the half court there.
Yeah.
And then he put Dillingham at the end of the game. And it was Harris, I believe, that averaged 1 point a game and hit them back-to-back threes. That was a killer for Kentucky there. That was Dillingham's man. He lost it. But DJ Wagner and Justin Edwards, the 2 star freshmen of this class, did not show up to that game. The lights were too bright for them, and that worries me for the rest of the season. These 2 guys are supposed to be, quote, dogs. Those dogs pretty much stayed on the porch that day. They've got to be better in situations like that.
And, dude, that's what I said. I told you from day one. And you have a kid coming out of high school. They may not pan out in college. Like, not all kids come in ranked high and do great in college.
Wow.
And it's just Calipari's coaching style, man. It's just like I question it. I ain't saying he's a bad coach. I'm not going to go on blast anybody and say they're terrible. But his coaching style, I just don't get it. It's like I was telling you the other day when, certain timeouts you call. Like, if you know your team is on a roll, don't call a timeout. Let them roll with it. Don't take a player out of the game when he's actually doing good for the team. Leave him in the game. And I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. I just question a lot of stuff with Calipari. And like I said, I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I have a lot of questions. And I know he's all about the dribble drive offense, but you shouldn't be teaching these kids to play man-to-man defense on the line, up the line. Don't go under the screen, playing help defense. That is stuff you learned in high school and middle school. Like, that is stuff you should already know. Like, my 11-year-old knows that stuff right now. And I get you have lapses, but you shouldn't have to go back and recoach that stuff in college. And you got to agree with me. I mean, I'm just saying, you can't if you got to go back and recoach that basic, simple defensive strategy, like, there's something wrong right off the bat.
A lot of that's AAU, the way they're taught in the AAU too, and it's like not the fundamental stuff; it's the flashy stuff. But
Yeah, and see, I hate
Calipari,
that. I wish the 3-point line was erased off the floor in high school and college. Just erase it, and you would see a big difference.
the game would be a whole lot different then. Calipari at the end of the games, like his end of the game, like after the 4 minutes left after that last media timeout, has been horrible the last few years, especially. And it didn't get any better this past Monday when Kentucky had a 6-point lead at that point in time and ended up losing by 5. Kansas outscored them 11-1 to end the game. Kansas wins. Kentucky's got the go ahead.
It's terrible, man. 11-1 at the media timeout.
Yeah.
With all that talent, man, I just don't get it. And I know it's early in the year, but I just don't get it.
Yeah, Kentucky's got they got plenty of room. This game, it was just to see where you're measured at right now. And, they hung in with Kansas without a big guy. So, there's some encouraging signs there from Kentucky. But what could have been right there, they very well could have beat the number one team the other day. There's no doubt about it.
100%. Any games you play before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, the tournaments and all that, and before, it's just a measuring stick to see where you're at. You got a lot of learning to do and a lot of, gelling with your teammates because a lot of schools, almost every school right now around America has got new players because of the transfer portal. It's just how it is.
Kentucky's next matchup is Friday night. Tonight they'll play the Stonehill Skyhawks. Stonehill they lost to George Washington, which was, it's an upset when one guy beats a whole team. George Washington facing the whole Stonehill team. And then George Washington last week, I believe they played William and Mary. So, that was a 2-on-1 matchup, and I'm pretty sure George Washington beat William and Mary. That's strange to watch on TV, a 2-on-1 matchup. And then Stonehill beat the Army, got blown out by UConn, got blown out by St. Joe's. Kentucky should blow out this team. Kentucky really doesn't. North Carolina's got a pretty strong schedule here coming up. Kentucky, on the other hand, maybe not the best schedule coming up. They got
Miami coming up.
Yep, they got Stonehill, and they got St. Joe's, which it's a sneaky good matchup. Marshall, and then they got Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And then UNC Wilmington, Penn, and then they got a small team from Chapel Hill on the 16th, and they play Carolina. So there's some good games there. Like I said, some teams there that's not like Stonehill. Like where's Stonehill from? Texas A&M Commerce.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. By the time we play each other on December 16th, I hope Kentucky has their big guys and all. I'm sure you're the same way with Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So I want Kentucky to have their full arsenal come full force at Carolina, and I want to see how they handle it. And if we lose, we lose. It's just how it is. But
I'm hoping for a game like back in 2018 season, or 2016-2017 season, where Malik Monk and was it Marcus Page that was going back and forth, where they were both had a huge game in that Vegas CBS Classic with Monk scoring 47 and Kentucky getting the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun regular season CBS Sports Classic. If we get that again, I'll sign up for that.
I'll sign up for it too, but I don't want the end result to be the same as it was.
Well, the thing is with that, this is like what we talked about the other day. This would be like, and see, I'm not bragging about it because ultimately later on in the season, North Carolina beat Kentucky in the tournament. So that regular season matchup did not matter. It was just a fun matchup. we're not going to hang banners. We're not going to,
Yeah.
have celebrations about it. This isn't Indiana beating Indiana about it because what happened later on in that season? Oh, yeah, that's right. Kentucky beat down Indiana to put them out of the tournament, but yet they still celebrated in-season victory over a number one team. But
Because
Indiana's irrelevant.
that was their championship, dude. They knew that was the only time they were going to beat Kentucky. That was it. They knew it.
They haven't been relevant in the last 30-some years, and they're not starting now.
Nope.
But, yeah, that's a little bit of basketball talk there we had, and we did our preview of the football pick'ems this week. And, man, we'll hop on here next week, and, man, it'll be the last week of NCAA football, and then we'll have to do some basketball pick'ems, and we'll do the bowl games as well, man.
Yeah, we'll do the bowl games, and hey, who knows? Maybe we can start maybe we can fire up the old YouTube podcast for basketball this year.
Yeah, man. We like to live stream some games, and we didn't do any this past week, but we did a couple last week on the Twitter. We may get back into doing that again, and man, we'll just go from there.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on and making these picks again with me and talking a little football and talking a little college basketball. And it's always fun to do it. This is a great time of the year for all that.
Oh, dude, this is like my favorite time of the year. You got college football, you got NFL, you got college basketball, you got NBA, you got nonstop sports every night, and that's what I'm about. So,
yeah, it's great, and we appreciate y'all listening, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Later.
All right, peace.